Hi everyone, we are Group 1, and now we are going to present about nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle is a cycle that shows the biogeochemical process when nitrogen is converted into different chemical forms as it moves between the atmosphere, soil, and living organisms. In the Earth's atmosphere, there is about 78% of nitrogen. In soils and rocks, nitrogen exists in the form of ammonium compound and nitrate ion. Besides, the proteins, enzymes, and nucleic acid, including DNA and RNA, in plants and animals also contains nitrogen. However, nitrogen is relatively inert, making it cannot be used directly by the living things.
The Earth makes up nearly 78% of nitrogen gas in the atmosphere. It travels from the air into plants, animals, oceans, and even rocks by nitrogen cycle, which connects the atmosphere, lithosphere, biosphere, and hydrosphere. In the atmosphere, nitrogen exists as a very stable gas and plants cannot use it directly. The nitrogen fixation process turns it into usable form like ammonia and nitrate. First, a bacteria called Rhizobium converts nitrogen into ammonia in a process called bacterial fixation. Second, during lightning storms, intense energy breaks nitrogen bonds and forms nitrogen oxide that dissolve in rain and enter the soil. Thirdly, the usage of nitrogen fertilizer makes nitrogen available for plants to uptake.
Nitrification is a key part in the nitrogen cycle that helps make nitrogen usable for plants. It involves a two-step biological process that converts ammonia into nitrates, which is the most abundant and usable form of nitrogen in the soil for plants. Firstly, Nitrosomonas bacteria convert ammonia into nitrite, then followed by the Nitrobacter bacteria that turns nitrite into nitrate, which is essential for plant growth. This process is important because plants rely on nitrate to develop strong roots, leaves, and its overall structure. After nitrification, nitrogen assimilation occurs. In this process, plants absorb nitrate from the soil and convert it into amino acids and proteins during photosynthesis. The nitrogen will then move up the food chain as animals eat plants, helping to build cells, enzymes, and DNA. And as for ammonification, it is a process where dead plants, animals, and waste products are broken down by bacteria and fungi. During this decomposition, nitrogen is converted back into ammonium ions, which then re-enters the nitrogen cycle.
Denitrification is the final step of nitrogen cycle. It is carried out by bacteria like Pseudomonas and Curbacillus. These microbes thrive in low oxygen environments like waterlogged soils and wetlands, and convert nitrates into nitrogen gas, which is then released into the atmosphere. These prevent harmful nitrates build up and complete the nitrogen cycle. On the other hand, sedimentation happens mainly in aquatic systems. Organic nitrogen from dead plants, animals, and waste settles to the bottom and become buried in sediments. Bacteria like Clostridium and Bacillus help decompose these materials. Some nitrogen stays trapped for long periods, while some slowly return to the system.
I will roughly divide the impact of animals on the nitrogen cycle into four parts: excretion, feeding, decomposition of the corpse, and animal activities. The first is excretion. The excrement of animals will be decomposed by microorganisms, causing the nitrogen observed from food to return to the environment. The impact of feeding is on the transfer of nitrogen within the food chain. Nitrogen is transferred from plants to herbivores and then to carnivores at different tropical levels. The decomposition of animal corpses occurs because the proteins in the animal bodies contain nitrogen. During the process of decomposition of the corpses, the nitrogen enters the environment. The impact of animals' activities on the nitrogen cycle is mainly due to some soil animals, such as ants and earthworms. They improve the soil structure, increase the oxygen and water permeability, and affect the nitrification process of microorganisms. Thus, they indirectly influence the nitrogen cycle.
I'm going to explain microorganisms involved in nitrogen cycle. The first process is biological nitrogen fixation. Rhizobium is involved in terrestrial environment while cyanobacteria are involved in aquatic environment. Both of them convert atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. The second process is nitrification. The first step is nitrosomonas convert ammonia into nitrite ion. The second step is nitrobacter convert nitrite ion into nitrate ion. Both of them are nitrifying bacteria. The third process is nitrogen assimilation. Ammonia and nitrate ions are incorporated into proteins and other organic nitrogen compounds during photosynthesis by plants, and some of them may be absorbed by bacteria itself. The next process is ammonification. Decomposing bacteria and fungi will convert organic nitrogen compounds into ammonium ions. For instance, protein will be converted into ammonia, which is then protonated into ammonium ion. The last process is denitrification. Denitrifying bacteria in waterlogged soils or wetlands will convert nitrate ions into atmospheric nitrogen or nitrous oxide gas.
Hi Doctor, I going to explain the three laws of plant in nitrogen cycle. The first one is nitrogen fixation. The plant will form symbiotic relationship with the nitrogen fixing bacteria like Rhizobium. The second one is assimilation. They absorb nitrogen in the form of nitrate and ammonium. The third one is decomposition. When the plant dies, their organic matter will decompose and release back in the soil. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this slide shows how human actions have changed the nutrient cycle a lot. Because of farming and burning fluids, human now add more nutrients to the environment than nature does. That means twice as much nutrients is entering our life land and water. This extra nutrients causes two big problems. First, it makes nutrients oxide, a gas that is much stronger than carbon dioxide and also damage the ozone layer. Second is getting to the river and lake and causes too much ledge to grow. This is caused in eutrophication. The ledge uses up oxygen and that creates dead zones which make the fish and another animal can't survive. One clear example is Lake Eric. Every summer fertilizer from ferries nearby area run into the lake. This causes huge blooms which kills the fish and another water unsafe. In short, too much nutrients from farming and industrial harms both the air and the water, and this has added to climate problem and environmental damage.
Aquaculture systems often release large amounts of nitrogen through excess feed and fish excreta. This nitrogen, mostly in the form of ammonia and nitrate, builds up in the water and causes eutrophication. This leads to algae blooms and low oxygen conditions, which can harm marine biodiversity. These effects are especially severe in enclosed coastal areas where water circulation is limited. In urban areas, untreated or poorly treated sewage contains nitrogen that can flow into rivers and coastal waters. Domestic pet waste, especially from dogs, is also a significant nitrogen source. If it's left on the ground, rain can wash it into stormwater drains, leading to nitrogen build-up in water bodies. These urban sources contribute to nutrient overload and degradation of water quality.
Here is a summary of nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen gas in the atmosphere is fixed in the soil either by bacteria or lightning to form ammonia or nitrate ion. Ammonia undergo nitrification to form nitrate ion with the aid of nitrifying bacteria. Nitrate ion is absorbed by plant during assimilation and transferred to animal when they are eaten. That organic matter returns nitrogen to the soil via ammonification in the form of ammonium ion, which then convert back to nitrate ion by nitrifying bacteria. Nitrate ion undergo denitrification to form nitrogen gas. Cycle complete. Human activity will speed up the nitrogen fixation through releasing of excess nitrogen to the cycle.